I think three-point lighting is still a misnomer because it forgets the fact, it centers everything around the human subject and it forgets about the rest of the world. And that rest of the world is frequently what can make a video image look a lot more lush, look a lot more interesting, if you can find ways to develop something in the foreground, the midground, and something in the background. There might be, you know, if you're suggesting with the camera that you're watching someone a little surreptitiously, you might be shooting just on the edge of a door frame, and you might have a little bit of a door frame in the edge of your frame. It's not a bad idea if you can find a part of that frame that's got a little bit of light on it. And it's not always about setting up lights, it's sometimes just about finding that beam of light that you can use as part of the frame. So you can see a little bit of door frame here, then there's their subject, then there's the background behind them, the file cabinets behind them, that's the information that they're in charge of, something that you can use to say something about your subject. And you try and, you know, frequently this is the biggest part of the DP's job, is finding parts of the frame that help tell the story. And guys like me just make it so we can spotlight parts of that frame. I just put a little special on that side of that file cabinet so you can see the file cabinet there and you know that it's something you should be looking at. Because that's what attracts our brain, just that little bit of special light on it. That little bit of edge, that little bit of rim, that little bit of sparkle that you see on the metal handle. That tells you that that's some part of the story. If you can find things in your frame like that, you can make that frame a lot more interesting.
Okay, so going back to that little room that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
let's say you have two of those lights and maybe like some little, yeah, two of the little work lights,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe some like smaller LED or something to put behind you, or black light or something. Not black light, but
Yeah. Well, hey, I've got black lights. Use them all the time. They're fun.
Yeah.
You know, what are you trying to say about this person?
Wow, I didn't think that. They're really smart.
You want to say that they're really smart? Okay. You know, what's in the room that might convey that information? Are there plaques? Are there awards? Is there a piece of technical machinery in the room?
With a computer.
Okay. I mean, most people have computers in the room, but you can at least suggest that, you know, that they have a relationship with the computer by putting a little bit of the computer in frame.
Right. Okay.
And if you're going to put it in frame, it's not a bad idea to put a little something on it. It's not like you necessarily have to treat it like it's another subject. There's always a certain, with lighting you can connote importance. So if I'm putting 3 lights on you, then I'm spending a lot of love and time making you look good. I'm probably not going to spend that kind of time on the computer. But if I give it a little bit of love, people will feel that, even if they don't necessarily say to themselves, wow, he's really doing a nice job lighting that computer. You know, there's a relationship that's established that we all understand. We've seen so much of this video on the internet, on TV, in the movie theaters, that we all understand the cues for making things important. And our brain does this anyway. It's just natural for us to look at the places that have a little bit of light on them. And to look at the quality of that light and see what that quality of light says about the subject. Soft light is flattering. Hard light usually reveals defects. If I take a hard light and rake it across a wood surface, well, this one's nice and smooth. I wouldn't be telling you much about this wood surface other than it's nice and smooth. But if it weren't particularly well finished, I'd see the fact that someone just hasn't done that extra work to make this look nice. If I wanted to suggest that I was in a place of ill repute, a place that's run down, I might streak light across that wall to show how that wall is kind of warped, to show how unfinished it is, to show how the paint is cracking and peeling. I'd let people know that by putting a little light across it. And I might literally do it just by raking it right down the line of this wall. Because if I take it over here, I might be filling in all those cracks. I might be hiding all that information. So it's, like I said, it's partially about quality of light, taking hard light like this and softening it like this. But it's also about angle. You know, when I talked about making someone look a little bit two-faced by keying them from straight off one side, I can then be a little more flattering by keying them more like this and coming straight at them or nearly straight at them. Okay. I'm pretty comfortable with the questions, not so much with the free-form speaking, so.
Let's see, what are your favorite, I guess, films or television shows that have been lit well, and why?
Well, I'm usually drawn to shows that are lit well for the content. So, for example, there's a television show called The Wire. What?
You go out again?
Yeah.
Come unplugged?
Did you make those batteries disappear again?
Yeah. I may have bumped it. I could be. But if I knocked them out, where the heck did they go? It's not like I stole them, they're my batteries.
What is this, a magic act?
Yeah, it is. I'm going to magically make this shit insane. I've forgotten the question. There's an HBO show called The Wire that is mostly lit in a naturalistic way. And by that I mean it's a style called naturalism. It isn't really what the world looks like, but they're suggesting what the world looks like. The lighting is not flashy in that show. It's very reserved. They're keeping their fixtures close to what look like the natural sources. When they're using mixed colors, mixed source lighting, they're going with the things that look like what you'd expect to find in the real world, but they're using it as part of the story. There's a scene in the first season in one episode where a character doesn't know it, but he's literally walking to his death. He's going to be executed. He doesn't know it. And we do. And he walks down this dark passage in his own house, and when he goes up those stairs, he's going to be done. And they just let him go dark for just a couple seconds. But if you didn't already know he's going to get killed, you know right then. You know it. You know he's going to get it. He's calling around the house, and it's also about the sound. Bastards. Because he's calling around for the kids he takes care of. He's just a kid himself, but he's looking after his younger siblings, and they're not in the house. They've all been gotten out, so there are no witnesses. That's an excellent show. And to some degree, it's partially the lighting. The guys who are doing the lighting on that show are doing an excellent job. They are serious professionals, and they've really put a lot of love into that. And that's tough to do on TV, because TV shows tend to move fast. The guys who are working that show, I haven't met any of them, but I'd really like to. They come to set prepared. They know if I bring this set of tools, odds are whatever situation I come into, I'll probably have a solution for it. If I've got a couple different ways to bounce light, and a couple different types of light sources, and a couple different ways not only to add fill, but to subtract it and increase contrast, then I can use that to tell the story. I'm a big fan of The Closer. I think that's a really well-lit show for the type of show it is. Once again, that's a fairly naturalistic show. I'm probably a little more comfortable with talking about movies that I'm a fan of the lighting of. There's a movie called Requiem for a Dream that, if you want to talk about flashy, that